What about the concept of getting comfortable with being uncomfortable? That to me seems like the magic pill to be able to conquer anything in life, because there's going to be so many times where you are going to be stretched out of your comfort zone. And so, what if you can master that? So, today I have a very special guest that is going to help me talk and delve into this topic. And she's also part of Beyond Certainty, the book that I've been telling you about. So you want to make sure you stick with the podcast because it's going to be amazing. Welcome to Living Intentionally, the podcast that empowers driven women to get unstuck and to take their personal and professional lives to the next level. I'm your host, Carmen. I am here to help you create the life you truly desire without burning out. And as a leading expert in living with amplified alignment between your mind, your energy, and your soul purpose, I'll be sharing valuable insights on mindset, energy, self-care, business, and much more. Plus, you get to hear from inspired women who have successfully built businesses and lives that are both meaningful and fulfilling. Join us as we dive into the topic that matter most and uncover the secrets to living intentional. So, as I mentioned, Brittany, our guest today, is one of the co-authors of the book Beyond Certainty that's going to be launching August 24. More about that towards the end of the episodes. But I'm so excited to have her here with me today. She's one of those experts that I have invited that I'm not even going to try to pronounce her last name. I'm going to let her do it after I introduce her because I don't want to butcher it. So there's Brittany, and she is a geo-energy healer just like me, an intuitive health and wellness coach specializing in mental and emotional health, a sound healer, and a dream pouring practitioner in the art of dream pouring, alchemy, constellation, and timeline shifting. Being comfortable with being uncomfortable is at the core of Brittany's work. She facilitates whole self acceptance to embrace one's most authentic self and best life. A lifelong animal whisperer, Brittany has 4 dogs of her own, plus numerous drop ins that visit daily for love, treats, and energy healings. She embraces her own spirit journey as she encourages others to walk on their paths. Thank you and welcome to the show, Brittany.
Thanks for having me.
So I'm so excited. Why don't you actually start by saying your full name so people actually know what your last name is?
Yeah, so it's Brittany Rychlick. Lots of silent letters in there.
Yes. Well, I blame it in English. It's not my first language. So I'm like, always try to be very careful. Some people get a little more sensitive about mispronunciations of their names. So I want to honor that. But as I mentioned, Brittany is part of Beyond Certainty. And I thought it would be good, and it would be great to bring to the show some of the key feature authors that are going to be in the book with me that have stories that resonate with you guys and help you get a little more intrigued about what this whole book is about, because quite frankly, uncertainty is everywhere. So her chapter is amazing, and that's what I wanted her to be here with me. So why don't we start with your story, Brittany? Like, where you come from, what got you to this point in life?
So, just a Texas girl, growing up out in the country, and had an early childhood trauma when my father passed, and didn't fully realize the gravity of that and the long-reaching impact that can have. And years, decades go by. I get married, end up being a mom, and then all of a sudden it's like a smack in the forehead of like, well, who am I? Like, I just kind of got absorbed into being a boss at work, or it was spouse, and then I transitioned into just mom mode. And I think I had a coworker at one point ask me, and I was like, I don't even know. I was like, So yeah, So it took me quite some time to figure that out. A lot of trial and error, things that didn't work to help me try to figure it out, and then landed on Oliver and Mandy, and kind of the story was wrote itself from there, and here we are today.
Yes, for those of you who don't know, Oliver and Mandy are our mentors, both in the mindset and energy world, and they are fantastic. And I'm too a testament of the transformation. And I always, through this podcast, I have the opportunity and the blessing to get to know so many people. And I remember being on my story a couple of years back and thinking, I was this unique unicorn who was broken. And the more I talk to people, is like, oh, look at that. She just told my story on her own words. And so it's so inspiring because it helps me remember there's so many wounded souls out there that need a little direction, a little light to be able to find their own way. But I don't know if this happens to you, Brittany, but like for me, like there were so many years in my life, and I think you kind of hinted on that, where I would never even consider or entertain the healing journey because I didn't think I was broken. There's nothing wrong with me. Like I was just okay, perfect.
Yeah, you just think that that's life. You think that
Right?
that's the norm.
Yes. So there is so many things that you do with your tools and energy and the dream porting and being an animal whisperer. And how do you take all these things to help people get comfortable with being uncomfortable?
So I try to meet people where they're at, and just let things organically flow in the conversation, depending on how well I know them to begin with, or if they're complete new people to me. I will kind of gauge the energy part of the work off of how comfortable they are with different perspectives, because a lot of that ties into energy work. And go from it from an intuitive place as to what I feel that they're open to. Some people it's really fast, and some kind of a baby walk, and just getting them comfortable with the conversation in general first. Because some people, I know I was that way for a while. Like I didn't want to work with a coach. I just wanted to figure it out on my own. I wish wasn't there, and getting a coach was kind of the key to it. And so I honor people where they're at, whether that's you just want to chat via message, or you just want to read some things, or you're ready to have a conversation, and then just pace the conversation at their pace, not my pace. Um, yeah.
Yes, that's beautiful. And I've always had some sort of personal development component in my life, but looking back, I can tell, that I was always doing things that were comfortable. Even though they seem uncomfortable to other people, they were comfortable to me, right? Like, and it's like the way I'm very visual. So the way I like to explain it is, there's this imagine like circle where everything around there, you can go back and forth between the radius of the circle, and all those points are some level of comfort to you, some more than others, but you're familiar, you've done it, you survived it, you didn't die, your brain's on board. And you might even, the ones closer to the rim of the circle, maybe they're a little, give you a little adrenaline rush, but enough to give you like the, oh my god, you're so courageous. But in reality, you're just doing what you know and just repeating your life over and over and over, because these are the things that you know how to do. But I read a quote many years ago that said that life is what happens outside the comfort zone. And it was very, like, it really like did something on me, because I started, it's not like I started taking risks back then, but I started really analyzing was that really a stretch? Not really. Like, I moved to the United States by myself with no family. I had a job, but I had no family. And I remember my friends in Panama were like, oh my God, aren't you scared? How are you going to do that? What happened if it doesn't work? And in my mind was like, well, just come back. It's not a big deal, right? So for me, what for most people could have been like the most courageous thing was just like, what are you talking about? I still today at 48 have my room available at my mom's house. I can still go back. Like
Yep.
that's not. And so I just want to put in perspective that the conversations that we're going to have here, some of the things might seem like, oh my God, I can never do that, or that is so easy to me. But things in the comfort and discomfort fall into different places for people.
Right. It's very individualized.
Yeah.
We're each on our own journey. Some people are kind of at the beginning, some are in the middle, some are at the midway between the two. And the way I think of it, pretty much anything that's comfortable, that's going to be your certainty. That's, yeah, it's what you're familiar with. Whether you feel like it stretches you a little bit or not, it's still comfort. It's still kind of a known quantity. You pretty much know what's going to happen or what can be expected. And I think we grow more when we push past that. And it
Okay.
is getting comfortable because it's uncomfortable. That's why it's getting comfortable with the uncomfortable, because it is highly uncomfortable. At least it was for me, and can still be depending on what we're talking about. But going past that and doing things that you have really no one control over what's going to happen if you do it, and then two, you it's a toss up as to what the result may be, but you do it anyway because you know that this is what you need to do.
Yes. Yes. Now let's bring into the equation the self
A lot ties
acceptance.
into that. Yeah.
Oh,
So
sorry,
that
you froze up
no,
for
go
a
ahead.
little bit there, but okay, yeah. Let's bring into the equation the self acceptance, and
So
yeah,
yeah.
and how does that play a role there?
So when we're talking about pushing outside of your comfort zone, pushing past what's certain, what also ties into that for a large majority of the people, I believe, is one, you got to accept your whole self, not just half of yourself, not just the pieces that everybody else likes, not the pieces that people see, but all of you.
Mhm.
And the large component of that is people pleasing, and it's giving up that attachment to what everybody else thinks, or what is my family going to think if I no longer entertain this kind of behavior or these kinds of conversations, or now I'm taking time for myself and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z because I know I need to put myself in a better frame of mind, which will let me handle more of what happens in life. you know, Basically screw what everybody else is thinking. You go with what your gut says and what you need to do for you so that you can be your most authentic self. And that ties into your self acceptance.
Yes, I can attest firsthand that self acceptance, compassion, self compassion, it's definitely the first step towards healing, because you have to take off the mask that you've been wearing your entire life and literally like open the wound a little bit to see what's in there. And sure, it's not going to be glamorous. And yes, it might hurt a little bit, but it would not be able to heal unless you give the proper TLC, the proper prescription, if you want. It doesn't have to be traumatic. You don't have to relieve the trauma, but you do have to be willing to admit awareness that there is something that needs to be healed, and and the only way to bring all the shadow parts of you into the wholeness is by loving and accepting every single fragment that has been created to protect you, because that's the only reason they exist. They had a good intention, right? You're here because you survived whatever event that caused trauma into your life. And so how did you go, or how was your story about self acceptance? What did that look like?
So I want to say for probably at least the first few decades, I wasn't necessarily aware that I would have told you I was not a people pleaser. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I could not care less about other people's opinions. But what I started realizing was that while pieces of that are true, there was still like my validation was tied to external things, and those things were other people.
Mm-hmm.
And somewhat is opinion based, and some of it is like performance based with work and that kind of thing, but it's still externally tied. So once I started realizing that, and then I realized some of the limiting beliefs around like self-esteem, self-image, body image, those kinds of things. I started working on those pieces to where I'm not hung up on that anymore. And so those were like the bigger chunks for me for self-acceptance. And then once I started not judging myself for being wherever I'm at, whether it's appearance, whether it was a decision I made, or whether it's, oh, I decided I wanted fast food today. Okay, well, and what? I'm going to eat it.
Right.
So I'm not even going to feel bad about it. It's, just any of those things that we tend to judge ourselves on, that we don't realize we judge ourselves on. And certainly, not extending that to other people as well. But it was more just, yeah, accepting the whole self, which is a lot for me, was affecting my self-esteem with my body image, which I actually didn't realize was tied to one of my parents. So that was kind of crazy to make that connection. Like, oh, wait a minute. Well, that's not even mine. I kind of just
Mm-hmm.
over the years kind of inherited that. And so that, and that the external validation is a big one for me, a really big one. And so I'm just like, no, I'm good enough, because that's that enoughness, and we all have that about certain things or certain situations that make it come up. And the book is one of those that it kind of started, I don't know about for you, but for me, it kind of started triggering that a little bit once we were kind of getting into the launch things. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is circling back again. Okay, I see it, you know.
Couple of very key points you made there. First, that even the people who believe at their core, because I don't believe people are lying. I mean, some people might, but like, even if you believe at your core that you don't have some degree of unworthiness, because that's what people pleasing is, I bet you, like, I really will bet that there's an area of your life where you are seeking for that validation. And I tell you, like, again, when you look at me, when you look at my life before, you would never think that that was a thing. And the thought that came as you were saying that is that very smartly, I had to say that it was that I don't play a game that I don't know for a fact that I'm going to win. Right? Like, so I am horrible at video games, right? And so my kids, teenagers, they want to play video games. I'm like, I can't, like, I will die when, and so I don't even try. And I don't even try because you put these things together and it's just like fully vulnerable, because that's how people like can see themselves into and react, is that I didn't want to try because I was bad at it and I needed the praise, the reward, the recognition, the light, right? Oh, my mom is super cool. She can play video games. No, she can't. But I will beat you in chess. Let's play chess, right? It's that is a very hidden, as backward way to like people please or unworthiness, right? Like,
Yep.
you always need to be checking your phone after you post in social media. Like, how many likes did I get? How many people commented, right? Um, it's almost a way of kind of manifesting too, because you
Mhm.
ask for something and then you're like checking, like scrubbing the dirt to see if it actually came up. Like,
Right.
is it roots are coming out of the seed, or right? And I totally forgot the other thing I was gonna say. So let's keep going and then come back to it. So we're not going to tell you what exactly is in the book, because the whole idea is that you actually purchase the book, which it's amazing. I mean, the stories that are in the book are so inspiring, and I know it will be a transformative journey for anyone who embarks on it with us. And I want to make sure everyone knows it's coming live August 24th. Uh, we need you to buy it between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 24th because we would like to become bestseller authors. I'm not going to lie. Now, the good thing is it's in Kindle. So super cheap. I think it's like 188. Is that what it
Yep.
is?
Yep.
Okay, 188. Seriously. And I have said it in the previous episode. I don't know what every author has to offer, but for those people that purchase it, leave a review, send me a picture. I am going to offer a complimentary, a free, just for this event, super powerful energy healing that will help you transform your life. So that is from me. But if you're smart, you do that with every author who has something to offer. So, Brittany, do you have anything that you're going to offer people who help you in this journey of becoming a bestseller?
Yeah, I do. So I'm also going to offer a healing, but I'm going to do it recorded so that they can replay it as much as they want. And then a one-on-one coaching session if they would like. If they're ready for that step, then we can just have that conversation, whether it's just conversation or, they just want me to listen. We can do that too.
Yes. So that is already, at the low end, $500, at the high end. I mean, like with one purchase, one review, send pictures to both of us, you're good to go for a lot of goodies.
We interrupt this podcast for a sponsored ad. We will be right back.
Hey there! Looking for a breakthrough in your life journey? Well, I got great news for you. As a certified master intuitive coach and master energy healer, I can guide you and support you in unleashing your full potential. Let's work together to identify those subconscious blocks that are keeping you stuck, remove any emotional barrier, and reprogram the limiting beliefs that are keeping you stuck into empowering ones. With my help, let's reframe your story for success and replenish yourself with light and love. You don't have to go through this alone anymore. Let's discover what's holding you back and make lasting changes in your life today. Go to the link below at carmenmentor.com to learn more about my coaching services and to schedule a complimentary consult with me today. Remember, it is time for transformation, and I'm so happy to be here to help you make it happen.
Welcome back to Living Intentionally with Carmen Benton and special guest Brittany Rychlick.
So, is there anything else you want to entice people with that connects what we're talking about here today with the book?
So in my particular piece, I do dive a little bit into depression and my experience with that. And I tend to draw those clients to me that need that support for mental and emotional health, whether it's anxiety or depression or both or what have you. So I kind of dive into that because I've got some personal experience in a couple different types of depression now. And I'm very visual. So this isn't in the chapter, but for me, I visualize my depression. It's all a habit to me. There's so many things that to me are just habits. And so we have a new habit, and then those old habits try to come back depending on what's going on in life. And so for me, it's always, I'm way far away from the edge of that cliff, and the cliff edge is like falling into that depression and just giving into it. And so now, having gone through my journey that I have, now I have the tools and resources, one, to identify when I'm getting triggered and getting closer to the edge. I'm taking steps towards that edge of that cliff. And I can now back it up and not be right on that edge to where I'm like, I am really just wanting to give in and just lay over the edge of that cliff and give into the depression. So for me, because I think so many people do struggle with that. They just either don't want to talk about it because of the stigma attached to it, which I think is absurd. And that's a judgmental thing. And we just need to get rid of that. Or they may not realize that it is a type of depression, because there are so many of us that are high functioning people that experience depression and anxiety, that people looking at us from the outside are like, what is wrong with you? Like, you have a job, you have a good job, you have, a spouse, a kid, whatever. And so like, what could you possibly, it's like, oh, that's judgment right there. So I don't need it. So we're not going to even entertain it. But there's just so many things that people don't understand that's going on in somebody else's brain. So I touch on that.
No, totally. And I've experienced postpartum depression twice. And the first time I actually didn't realize that's what was happening. It was milder. The second time was pretty bad. I mean, it was pretty bad. I didn't want to talk to anybody, want to leave the house. I had severe anxiety, panic attacks, and I was sad and miserable, really. And so it's something that just creeps on you, like you don't even realize. And you can be the most resourceful, healthy, well-rounded, fully abundant person, and it just shows up one day.
Mm-hmm.
And I live in Alaska, where the sun is only partially available, and we have the highest per capita depression rate.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, it's a thing. When I tell people, people think it's a luxury, and it could be, but I go to Hawaii about 3 or 5 times a year. It is a necessity. I need the sun, because that is what stops me. That's me getting to the edge and recognizing the triggers and the patterns and the feelings and the emotions, and saying, nope, I got to do something before it's too late. And that comes with tools that people like Brittany or myself have. And I'm sure she also passes it down. Like, I never want to be a crush for my clients. I want to teach them how to interrupt the thoughts, how to find them, how to replace them, how to just be able to find that joy, right, in life, in everyday life. And you know what? We're all humans. We all get triggered once in a while. But how long do you get? How long do you stay down in the deep?
Right.
Is the difference between everything.
Yeah. And do you go all the way down, or do you stop it? And I think a big thing is helping people figure out what they can do. Yours is going to Hawaii, and I'm sure you have other things as well. I have different ones for me, and everyone else's, what they do, what works for them is going to be a little bit different. They may tweak something that we all do and make it work for them. And it's helping them think outside the box, because we get stuck on labels and stuck in the structure of things, and it's got to look this way if I do this, and and it doesn't have to.
There's so many things that, I mean, again, the going to Hawaii is an extreme example, right? But like in your daily life, right? Things that you can do to up your mood. Like, I was exercising this morning, and I literally cranked the volume on Metallica. Because that's what felt like it, and it just gave me the pump that I needed. I, obviously work from my house, and I have a full house right now because I have my mom and my brother and my kids. Everyone is here. And so I'm confined to my bedroom. Thank God for my standing desk. But I dress up and I put perfume, because it makes me feel good. It's little subtle things. Like, you can, if you're not a perfume person or a makeup person, even like the diffuser, the essential oil that you put in your diffuser, or going out for a walk and grounding, or eating healthier, or just playing music, things that helps you interrupt, the downward spiral of thoughts. Because if you don't interrupt, it's the habitual thing that you're talking about. It's like, we get muscle memory. Oh, that's the other thing I was going to talk about. Muscle memory. And it's so easy just to do it. It's the comfort.
Yep.
And what you want to do is step outside the comfort to be able to be happy.
Yeah. And it does start with, we circle back to acceptance. It's being honest with yourself and not judging yourself for any of it. Yeah. And you got to have those tools to do what you need to do. And I don't know about you, but I have like almost like stages. Like I'll try certain things, and then if it's like a couple of days and I'm still really battling, then usually I'll call another coach and I'll be like, okay. And it's stuff that we know, but it's just like when you're in the thick of it, it's like sometimes it just goes out the window and you're like, oh yes. Ugh, I don't know why that didn't come into my brain. Like, but it's just because we're human too. And so it's just like, okay, let me redirect here. Let me course correct. And, then it gets me back on where I need to be. But yeah, it's just any of those things, whether it's going to movies, reading books, listening to music, whether it's a certain scent, whether it's perfume or incense or oils or animals will instantly, it doesn't matter what mood I'm in, animals for me, and it can be the ugliest animal, it won't matter. I mean, it won't matter. Now, I'm not talking like insects or snakes. Now, that's a little different.
But I was thinking like grizzly bear. I don't know, but okay.
I mean, hey, as long as it's not trying to eat me or bite me, I mean, I'm pretty much okay. Unless it's going to be slimy. I don't really do the slimy. I mean, I'm country girl, but no, I don't want bugs in my hair or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, I will. It's just an instant thing for me. That and waterfalls, hiking, not extreme hiking, but like,
nature
is a thing for me. Yeah, for sure. But I know those things and I can't do those things when I'm, at work, so I have to have other things that will help me in those moments. So it's just different. And I help people kind of figure out what those things are for them. I kind of, it's the visual thing. I kind of think of us like we're all on our paths, right? And to me, of course, it's a nature thing. So I'm like in the woods, and sometimes I need another coach to shine the flashlight on where I'm going because I'm in the middle of the night and I'm kind of looking around like, okay, I'm a little bit like, which way? But for the most part now, my journey isn't in the dark. It's, daylight or whatever. And I'm going along by myself and I'm just fine with it. But then other times I need someone there with me to kind of help shine the light on the situation and get me back to where I need to be. So that's kind of how I view it for my clients too.
Yes. I mean, there's a couple of things here. It's like, this is why you always need to have a support network, right? You are the average of the 5 people you hang out with all the time. And, I'm sure you heard that, but it's a reality. I mean, like, one of the beauties of group programs is that you get to meet people who are like-minded and in the same journey. And if you need to speak crazy stuff, then you have people to talk crazy stuff about. But as you said, I have made so many amazing friendships where, I might be at the, thick of it. And sometimes all it takes is to talk it out loud. And so it's like, I'm here like blah, 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 blah. And then it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, I got it. Thank you. Thank you for listening. And sometimes that's all you need. I actually have coaches that I literally just want to be in their energy. There is not necessarily something they're going to teach me. And I'm not saying they don't, but like there's not necessarily something that I'm looking to learn. I just love to be in the energy of people who are 10 step, 20 step ahead of me, because I don't have time to try to figure it all out. If they already figure it out, just the energy by itself pulls you up. And that's one of the things I always do with my clients. And even when I'm not doing energy itself, I'm always doing energy, right? Because I am surrounding them with higher frequency in the hopes and in the quest of raising their vibration so they can get more clarity. And it happens all the time. It's like, you'll be, if you never had a coaching session, and I would say I've been a coach for a long time, and my coaching now is like nothing comparing to like before. Like before was nothing comparing to now, because the energy component adds some texture to it that I don't even know that there are words to describe it, but it's that holding space of safety and upward spiraling, right? And you will find answers that you never even thought existed.
Yep. That's what I was going to say. It's the space that we hold, which it's for people that aren't in the energy. It's the environment we hold for people, and it allows them they don't need our permission. but they're not there on their journey yet. So they feel like they do. So we hold that space, provide that environment that is safe for them, gives them permission to start exploring who they really are, to drop the judgment, to drop all these things, and to just be able to do it in a safe way that they feel is safe for them.
Yes. So we are going to put all the links so you can get in touch with Brittany and follow her in social media. But you want to like really quickly say where are the places you hang out the most? And
yeah, sure. So Facebook is probably going to be the predominant thing, whether it's my personal page or my business page. My business page is under the Energy Ninja. And
I love that.
Well, you know, it's a ninja, right? Because it's kind of silent, it's kind of invisible. And I get the ninja tagline all the time because I can come in and out of a room and people don't even know. They're like, "Oh my God, where'd she go?" I'm like, "No, I'm just going to ninja right on out." Like if I'm not feeling the vibe of the room, I'm out. So I kind of combine the two. And so that's my Facebook page as well as my business website too. They're both the Energy Ninja. But yeah.
I didn't know that because we're connected through the personal page, but like profile, but I love that. So I'm a martial arts aficionado too. So the ninja, just like, yeah, I love it.
Yep.
Okay. So everybody remember to follow Brittany in her social medias, and remember August 24th, mark your calendars, 2 p.m. Eastern. Yes. So I'm happy to put that in the episode too, so nobody miss it up. But it's 3 hours. We have 3-hour window to get this momentum going. So help us, and it will be amazing to have you in the free things that we're gonna give to those who support us in this mission. And next week, you're gonna have my story of my book. So I'm so excited to share that with you. And you've heard a lot of my stories, but I don't know that you've heard this one yet. So it will be a treat. And I love you all, and I'll see you next week. Thank you for being here, Brittany.
Thanks for having me.
Hey there. Thank you for tuning into today's episode of Living Intentionally, the podcast where we explore ways to live with purpose and fulfillment. If you're new here, make sure to hit the follow button so you never miss an episode. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at the Carmen Benton. I'm your host, Carmen Benton. I'll be back next week with more insights and inspiration.